Hey y'all. So I'm here, y'all. I'm finna do a story time, right? And I'm one type of person is like, I am who I am. I am that I am. You know what I'm saying? I can't hide from my gifts. And that's how a lot of times how people go crazy. They try to run and hide and they won't share. They allow people to demonize them. But I have to live in my head, right? I don't have no community. So that just is what it is. And I've learned to accept my life, myself, my gifts, and my experience. But I want to share a story time about my encounter with heaven, right? So at the time I didn't understand it. I didn't understand this, but I'm gonna go ahead and so I have a relative that my little cousin, right? He's the same age, a couple months older than my son. So um but when he was 12, he was 12 years old. He would be 19 like my son at this time. My son turned 19 in September. So he would be about 19. He will be 19 right now. So his mother lost custody of him, so he was in the state custody in Florida, right? And they end up putting him in a group home, right? So while in a group home, the family, because I went up to the children's hospital in Jacksonville when it happened too. Like, I was out there with his mother. Everybody else was in the hospital when this incident first happened. Me and his mother, which is also gifted, we were out sitting on the bench talking, but that was around 12 years old. That was when he was 12 years old when it first happened. But he ended up being in a group home up until I don't even know if they actually had a funeral for him at this point, but they had been keeping his body. Basically, he was in the group home, and they ended up saying that he hung himself in the group home, which was a lie. He would have never hung himself. If anything, he would have been beating the stank off of all the boys in the group home and whoever. So that wasn't true. So basically, there was a state cover-up for him hanging himself. But with hanging himself, he ended up being in a vegetative state. So once in a vegetative state, they basically he lost his mother with trying to cover up what happened to him. They took total custody of him, right? So somebody at the group home ended up quitting the group home and adopting him, and they've been having him at a vegetative state for years, right? So at some point years back, I end up communing with him because I had another relative tell me that because I had just learned I had mediumship abilities, right? And another relative had told me that I can commune with him because his spirit is already gone. Like, he's just a vehicle, his body's there, his spirit already gone. So with that being said, I had end up like communicating with him, right? And when I communicated with him, I didn't understand at the time. I had asked him to show me who did it to him because based on from what I know of the story and all the stuff I've been hearing, like, it didn't sound right. I'm a seer, right? So I literally communicated with him in spirit, right? And I asked him to show me who did it to him, right? So now here's the heaven encounter. Here's the heaven encounter. So like that night, I had this dream that me and a light-skinned boy, like a light-skinned young man, was like in a line, was white, like a line that, and everybody had all white, but I couldn't see the front of the line, but we was in this line, and I couldn't look and see what people behind us, but we were in a line, we were all white, and he was in the line, and I was standing on the side of him in the line. So it's like I took him. I was with the person, accompanying this young man in the line. So whenever I had that dream, I end up, telling someone years ago, my cousin years ago, that, hey, and describe the boy that I saw, thinking at the time that that was my cousin. I mean, that was the boy who did it to him, because I asked my cousin a direct question: show me who did this to you, because I know this was a cover up or whatever. So I end up having that dream, and I just interpret that dream like finally understanding the more that, since I have grown spiritually and grown in my gift and I can see more now, it hit me that I literally carried him to heaven. Like, I released his spirit, and he was still here in the physical, and the group home owner that adopted him and taking care of him or whatever still had his body as a vehicle. But I had done already, like 2 years before, had done basically took him to the heaven gates in spirit. So I just want to share that story. It's like, wow. And the boy that I saw, I mean, the young man that I saw in the line was literally him. It was literally him, the older version, the him that's not in a vegetative state. In the dream, also, I might add that I never saw his face. I was standing in a line on the side of him, and it's like I see from the back. Like he had the way, the young men will have locks in the top of their head with the taper, and he was like muscular. He's like the same thing what my son would be right now. They were the same age. So at the time, I didn't think about that. But in the dream, like I said, it was like all white. It was so beautiful. It was just like everybody was in, like, there was in a long line. It was white, and I was standing on the side of him in the line, and I couldn't see the like beginning of the line to see that I saw God, but I knew that I took him to heaven, right, to release him. And I know it took years for his mother to really accept that he wasn't here no more, right, or whatever like that. But because still having hope and not understanding how vegetation and all that stuff works. I also remember hearing that his back, that when he was with the adopted parents from the group home that took him in and forcefully made his mother lose custody of him after she did everything she was supposed to do to get him back. But it was a cover up, right? And what I know what happened was one of the boys did it, and they favored the boy more than the boys did it, and they favored it, so they did a whole cover up on his life. He ended up like basically telling me that as well. So yeah, that was my heaven. That was like my heaven experience. Like I actually took somebody to heaven in my dream state. So that was pretty cool. But like I said, that he literally was like muscular, tall. He was like literally like my son is, but I didn't see his face. I was standing in line with him, like, from the right. Like I was on the right of him, so I wasn't in the line, by the way. You know what I'm saying? Like he's in the line. I was to the right of him, but I'm standing where I never saw his face, because honestly, if I would have saw his face, I would have known it was him, right? So I assumed when I had the dream that it was the boy that I asked him of. So yeah, that really happened. So, boy, what is it called? Does it say too much is give to whom much is given, much is required? Something like that. Yeah. So these gifts are not for you to just have and sit on them. Sometimes you have assignments, you have stuff to do. I mean, you help people, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's a blessing to have that gift. But yeah, that was my heaven encounter. If you ever had a heaven encounter, comment below.